What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Okay, well, we are going to go over the town hall today. Going to give you my 5 biggest takeaways. For those who might be new to the channel or new to this series, every week, or at least every time there's a town hall, I go through and give you my 5 biggest takeaways. So it's not a summary. There's fantastic content creators out there, both written and audio. And actually, I do need to say that there is no official town hall summary anymore because I think, unfortunately, the person who used to put them together was let go. So I don't know about the written ones anymore. Rosie W is a fantastic content creator, but she's not able to do them every week. On the video side, I do know NFT Gaming and Collectibles, Walking Keys and Gang usually go through it, so hopefully they'll have something there. So that's the summary side. For me, I just like to do my 5 biggest takeaways, so things that stuck out to me during the town hall that I wanted to expand a little bit further on. And I'm going to go ahead and share those with you now and let you know right off the bat that I lied because there was actually a lot more than 5. So I tried to keep it to 5, but you can see there's a couple of bonus items that I'm just going to try to mention very, very briefly at the end here. So this is the town hall from today, November 21st, 2022. And there was a lot. So for those who might be missing some of the context, last week, the team announced that there was about 45% of the team laid off, or leadership announced there was about 45% of the team laid off, and there was this renewed focus on delivering on their promises. No more, other projects or external sales and all that. They really wanted to get back to what they promised that they were going to do, which is land, Rooney, guilds, a bunch of stuff. So we're going to get into all that today. And I'm just going to dive right in because there's a lot to cover. So first things first, land, right? This is probably one of the biggest things that people have been waiting for. And we have, or at least we were given, a rough estimate as well as an updated kind of expectation, right? So land phase 0 was supposed to be non-card market tech modernization. We know tech modernization went live. We don't have non-card market yet. Land phase 1 is what we were originally expecting by the end of the year, and that was when you would be able to redeem your plot, your claim for a deed, and actually see what your NFT was. Like, what kind of resources is it, or sorry, what kind of resources does it give you? What kind of land type is it? What kind of mana or cards? Whatever that goes with it. That's what we were expecting for land phase 1. And then sometime in the middle of 2022, we were expecting land phase 2, which is actually the functional part of land. So they started saying that we were going to see land 0.5 before the end of the year because they want to get something out for land. And I think that, at least for me, this is the first time that I fully understood what land 0.5 actually includes. So you will be able to see your plot location on the map, and Nate actually shared some really cool stuff, like just some close-ups of the map of Pretoria. And if you have a tractor region, you'll be able to break those up. You will not, though, be able to see the specifics of what your land actually includes just yet. And you won't be able to see, the breakdown, the stats, and all of that. That is land phase 1, and Matt confirmed that that is going to be for land phase 1 and probably at some point next year. Again, I don't know when, but hopefully soon, meaning like January, right? January, February, sometime early Q1, if they can get that. But this is the first time that I'm seeing exactly what we can expect for land 0.5. Now, that being said, what Nate was showing in terms of the map is that you'll be able to see generally what area your land is in. So he kind of countered himself in a couple different ways, but for example, he's like, let's say, you can tell that your plot is going to be in this area that looks like a forest. Well, that means that there's a high chance that you might have a forest, but you don't know for sure, right? At least with land 0.5, you won't know for sure. You'll just know that it's in an area where it's mostly forest, but you could have a pond that exists within the forest or a clearing that exists within the forest. And those are the 2 exact examples he gave. So, again, I don't know what that will look like or if that has any meaning to people. I'll tell you right now that I don't know that that necessarily has any meaning to me in terms of, am I going to keep this land? Am I going to sell it? And for those who might be wondering, I have 2 plots of land, and I'm probably just going to keep them because I just want to participate in land. And then we'll see once land actually comes out and is maybe even functional, maybe I'll go in and buy some more land. But right now, I'm kind of happy with it. So that is what land 0.5 is. And I would say that's probably one of the biggest things on the roadmap for them to get out before the end of 2022. So land 0.5, that's what it's going to include. For all of you people holding land, I hope you're excited about it. Yeah, should be good. Let's see if we'll get it. Okay, number 2. There were a couple of DEC syncs mentioned, a couple of ideas for DEC syncs mentioned by Matt. The first of which was this concept of having a DEC bond, where you could burn DEC today, and let's say you burn like 500,000 DEC, and you would get a token or some kind of promise, some kind of bond, right? Paper note that's in the form of a digital token, but still paper note that would allow you to redeem it for more in the future. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to get ahead of the fact that land, for example, is going to be a huge DEC sink. And if you want to start stocking up DEC for potential things like land in the future, or maybe tower defense, or just holding it for something worth more value in the future, then you could buy these DEC bonds, and in a way that'll help, one, remove a lot of DEC supply, or burn a lot of extra DEC supply, and 2, if people are going to be buying up DEC now, which is absolutely cratered, it's at 0.00063, so it's like 37% below its peg, then this would give you the opportunity to do that. I'll tell you right now, as soon as Matt mentioned that, you know that emoji that looks like this, that was immediately what came to mind, because, and I've come around to it, but I want to tell you why I had that initial reaction. To me, this is like just another, this game is already getting criticized as a DeFi platform. And if we're going to introduce bonds, which is just another financial instrument that like the US government and every government around the world uses, it feels even more like a DeFi platform. What the community, I feel like, has been calling for has been promo cards. Let's get some stuff in the game that we can actually use, right? Or it doesn't have to be promo cards. It could be anything that adds value to the game itself. I mean, people even want like to be able to burn DEC to switch up their Rooney parts or something like that, or re-roll their Roonies. Whatever the case is, like, people care about the game element of it. And that's why when this whole DEC bonds thing was brought up, I was like, here we go again. Splinterland's continuing its complete pivot over into a DeFi yield farming platform rather than a game, right? That being said, I did come in as an investor, so the more I think about it, I'm just like, oh, maybe I'll get on it if it's got a good yield, right? The player in me did this. The investor in me was like, oh, that sounds like a pretty good deal. And keep in mind, this game is 100% dominated by whales. So if the whales can come in and save the game by buying these DEC bonds, I'm for it. As a player, it's kind of meh, right? Like most of the people who enjoy the game for the game itself. And there's a lot of folks here, and these are the type of people we want to come in. And we're going to get to that in point number 5, I should say. But we'll get into that in a minute. Or not a minute. It's going to take a little while. Oh, man. I hope you guys are enjoying this one. Hopefully it doesn't go too long. I'm really going to try and keep it on the shorter end, or as short as I possibly can. So that's what DEC bonds are. Guild alliances. Now this is something for the players, and I really, really like it, because here's an element where you are able to, you have your small cohesive units, which are guilds, but what they want to do is create these guild alliances that could potentially add further DEC sinks, more buildings to upgrade, more things that you have to do. Right now, it's up to 30 people that are allowed into a guild, and you come together as a unit and you participate in these brawls and frays, right? Guild alliances will allow guilds, so guilds which comprise of 30 individuals, to come together and create alliances and work towards building up something higher. So if those end up being major DEC sinks, as a player, now I'm happy. Those are the kind of things I want. It adds to my overall gaming experience. And as somebody who is very happy in the guild that I'm in, sometimes I feel I feel a little like, oh, I kind of wish like I could do more with such and such person who's in a different guild, or this person who's in a different guild, or like I had a good chat with like YGG. And while I personally don't necessarily want to join YGG, no offense to the YGG folks out there. I'm just saying like, I'm happy with where, you know, my guild is at. It'd be cool to do some kind of alliance with YGG without having to give up the Archmage Arius Disciples banner. You know what I'm saying? So that had nothing to do with tokenomics. That was just me enjoying my place within the game and what I've worked towards in the community that I've built, right? That whole little spiel that I gave you. And I love that, because if that can lead to more DEC burning, more DEC usage, that would be great. This also sounds like a major project, because one of the things that Matt kept saying throughout, which again was a little disappointing, is, yeah, we still need to think through how all of this is going to be, you know, implemented or designed. Sorry, not implemented, but designed. And he said that for a lot of stuff, right? So when I was just hearing him say that one after another, I'm just like, okay, it looks like the rest of the year and maybe even early next year is going to be like, let's go back to the drawing board. But implementation for something like this is going to be a whole other step. And I don't know what takes longer, whether it's the actual design from, you know, an infrastructure design. There's also the creative aspect, because once the infrastructure is created, or once the infrastructure is planned out, then it's like, okay, well, we're going to have guild alliances and they need such and such building, or they need such and such pages or tabs. Now creative needs to work on this. And then once creative is done, then it goes back to the implementation on the dev side. So I think we're a ways away from that. The DEC bonds are probably going to come in a lot sooner, but I am excited about guild alliances, and I think that could add a lot of value to the game overall as a player, and hopefully as for the economy as well. Okay, number 3, and DEC bonds, guild alliances, and Soulbound rewards cards were each kind of grouped together in this late section within the town hall, where Matt was talking about some things they're thinking about for the future. This is interesting to me, because I am all for more Soulbound things. This needs to feel more like a game, and if we do need to shift a little bit towards Web 2, I am totally cool with that. This seems to be like another kind of disincentive for bot farming, right? So that we don't have all of these cards being sold on the market for super cheap, which is actually not terrible for people wanting to get into the game right now, right? The fact that I can buy up a bunch of Pellicors for a penny is pretty fantastic. But that being said, if they're able to help cards keep their value better by not offering these rewards cards, which are infinitely inflationary because they have to keep on releasing them, but just keeping them as soulbound, that to me is really cool. Now, I had an interesting discussion about this with Darkest Night, and I'm slowly coming around to it because, again, I'm just presenting both sides of the argument here. I think it's great because we need more soulbound stuff. At the same time, my concern was, does this make it even more difficult for new players to come in and feel like they are going to be competitive? Now, what do I mean by that? If you join today, the cards that you need to play in Champion are probably going to include Kitty and Yoden. And I know these are not, or those cards specifically are not rewards cards. But I'm just saying some of the top rewards cards, like Ammo Cambio, for example, some of these rewards cards are not super expensive, but they're definitely pricey. The thing is, price actually has nothing to do with it. All I'm saying is that the difference then becomes not monetarily or financially, because if I wanted to, I don't own an Almo Cambio, but if I wanted to, I could go out and buy one. I could go out and buy a Ruler of the Seas or a Kraken or whatever, awesome cards that existed before or were previous rewards cards. Whereas new players coming in today, or even when I joined a year ago, with this new kind of paradigm shift, I just don't even have a chance, right? And if we get to a point where some of these reward cards actually end up being vital, right? Then it's just like, oh, well, I will never be able to play in Champion because I will never be able to get those cards. Even if I scrape together enough money, even if I'm the richest person in the world, I'll never be able to play in Champion. So that's where my concern comes in, because then it's like, okay, are we disincentivizing people from playing? Because you don't want pay to win, but at the same time, pay to win offers people to come in and play at the highest levels right away. That being said, I like this idea, and I definitely want to get behind it for the simple reason that, this is something that Darkest Night reminded me of that Aggie said, which is proof of time. And if you've been in the game for a while and you have all these older rewards cards, they're going to help you in the game and play hopefully better, right? Or maybe your bot will be able to play better and actually use them. So I like it for that simple fact alone, right? The cards may not be worth anything because you may never be able to sell them. And there was some discussion about maybe, you know, after they're out of print, you can sell them, but who knows how it'll actually be designed. Right now, I'm just assuming they're going to be completely soulbound. And this is potentially going to be, you know, implemented by the end of the year. I forgot to include in my next point here. But again, soulbound, interesting. I like it. I'm behind it. I have my concerns, but I'm curious to know what you guys think with the concerns that I brought up. Okay, number 4, we're actually doing pretty good. So number 4 is just the deadline. December 13th, 2022 is the deadline, and there's a lot of stuff that they want to get out. So I just talked about the Soulbound rewards cards. They want to get Rooney playable in game. They want to get a promo card for an end of year sale, and then of course they want to get land. And there might even be some other things that I've missed here. Now, the reason I'm saying December 13th is because if you look at the calendar. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this here. Let me pop it up. Oh yeah, you can. So if you look at the calendar, there's only I think there's 4 weeks of maintenance windows before we get really into the holidays. So you got tomorrow. I don't even know what's going on tomorrow. The 29th of November, which is next week. And then you have these 2 weeks, December 6th and December 13th. And then after that, pretty much the entire world shuts down, or at least here in the US, I know the company's going to want to shut down and give people some time to, off with their families or loved ones for a break for the holidays. So we have roughly 3 weeks from tomorrow, right? If we include tomorrow, there's four maintenance windows, but 3 weeks from tomorrow for them to implement a lot of these things. Personally, I think that's a lot. If they can pull it off, I will be very impressed. But you know me, not that I'm trying to be extra bearish, but I do try to be realistic with you guys. And I don't know that we're going to get all of it. If I had to guess, I think the promo card would have to land would have to be in there, because if they miss yet another deadline, you're going to get people just raising a riot. The promo card is only going to be relevant as an end of year sale. Now, of course, this could also be then branded as a beginning of the year sale, right? Welcome 2023. So that could still happen, because if you missed it on the last video that I covered, so on the last town hall video, which was actually not a regular town hall, but like the layoff town hall, Aggie had mentioned that they wanted to do some kind of sale where every time you buy a Chaos Legion pack, for example, you are given 1 BCX of a promo card. Maybe it'll be like a common promo card. And so that'll be a good way to incentivize sales. And obviously with the burning going all the way until March, they'd still have time to implement this in January, I think, because I don't think we're going to sell out right away. But obviously the earlier you do it, potentially less packs get burned. And I am totally against burning packs. I mean, the proposal passed and it's going to go, but I would love for more packs to be available, just because that'd be great. It keeps cards cheap, and it gives the company revenue rather than it just going into oblivion. So Soulbound reward cards, again, that might be included there. This DEC bond stuff, that might be included there, but I don't know. What would be for example, like what would be your priority list? I wouldn't be surprised if Rooney gets pushed, for example. To me, it's promo card and land that would need to be there probably by the end of the year if they want to brand it as an end of year sale. I want Rooney just because that'd be awesome. And we got some fun stuff planned for Rooney, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, December 13th. So we're coming up to the end of the year here, which, if I can just take a minute just to step back. We're getting into the holidays. It's been a really tough time. It's been a really rough year with Splinterlands if you bought in a year ago or even early this year. So, maybe this isn't a bad time to just take a little time away, focus on some other things, be with family, enjoy the holidays and all that. And hopefully wherever the team is at right now, we'll all be able to come back to 2023 or in 2023 and hit the ground running. So, that being said, let me close with this. Actually, I can't really close because I got some bonuses. Player mindset. Now, this is something that Yaba Matt actually mentioned at an internal meeting for the team. They do these like internal town halls, which I'm able to attend. And this is something that he said that he wanted to bring up for the general community. He did so here. Now, what he's trying to drive at is this idea of the player mindset being so ROI focused, and how that is just, it's not ever going to be sustainable, right? So for example, he said a common criticism he hears is like, oh, I have to spend X amount of dollars just to play in Champion, or to afford the cards to play in Champion, but my return is only, such and such. Like, why would I ever do that? So this is where I go back to the whole investors versus players. We are still dominated by investors. Our player base is still dominated by investors, whereas we just need players, people who see value in playing the game and wanting to be around just to play the game, right? Like Darkest Knight is my shining example of this. He is my knight in shining armor when it comes to this, right? Pun totally intended, because he doesn't care about the tokenomics, like not at all. He even says like he snoozes during the town halls whenever they start talking about tokenomics, but he loves the game. So, when it comes to this, those are the type of people, those are the types of players we want to be attracting, ones who just want to be part of the game. Now, he did give a really interesting analogy, which I don't think is perfect, but I think it's worth sharing still. And he said back in 2012, I think, he was mining Bitcoin. When I say he, I'm talking about Matt. Matt was mining Bitcoin. And at the time, he was mining, like Bitcoin was $10. Yeah, so $10. And he was mining, I think he said he did it for a couple months, and he mined like 3 Bitcoin. Again, each of them was only $10 at the time. And when he looked at the cost benefit ratio, similar to how a lot of players do now, he was just like, oh, I'm spending way more on electricity. It's burning out, my different computer parts and all that. And I'm only getting $10 per Bitcoin. Like the ROI is not really there. So he stopped. He stopped mining Bitcoin. And we all know how that played out, right? Imagine had he kept going. So he's trying to put that analogy here, and like I said, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it is worth sharing, and it is worth thinking about, because it is a derivative, or at least parallel to what I've been talking about with this whole player versus investor mindset, where this is still very much an investor mindset, because what he's trying to say is you're playing with stuff now and you're investing in these cards, right? And you're earning SPS, which is, again, that's another one that's totally collapsed. I think we're at like 3.7 cents now. And so the idea is, if you believe in the team, if you believe in crypto, if you believe in Bitcoin, if you believe in the markets overall, at some point this will reverse. And when it does, everything that you've earned will be worth a lot more. So that being said, again, I try to steer away from that, because I'm trying to go much towards like a player mindset rather than investor mindset. I think both should be separated out in many ways, unless you can tell the difference, and unless you can be non-emotional about it. Whereas he's still looking at this as like an investor mindset. But like I said, that has a lot of value, because I think the lesson he learned with his whole Bitcoin mining story was interesting. And so if you think about it in that way, even as an investor, right? Investor/player, you will be able to move forward in the game, earn assets that, if you believe in it and are patient enough with it, we will eventually get some kind of market recovery, some kind of crypto boom. Again, you got to believe in that. You have to believe in the team to deliver and survive long enough until that. And then you have to believe in, hopefully, your ability to not lose faith, right, over time. But I just thought that was worth sharing, because he did share it internally, and then as he said he was going to do, he shared it in this most recent town hall. So I'm curious to know how you even take that. Like, is that when he said that, or with me telling you the story, what did you think of that? Is that something that moved you in a certain way, or is it just like, that doesn't really apply to me? I'm genuinely curious. Okay, couple of bonus items. Splinter Forge was a guest on there. They had their game releasing on January 2nd, 2023. They have a new token. They've airdropped it. I've been sleeping on this. Sorry to Rare Raptor, because he and I were talking a while back, and I haven't had a chance to check it out, but I want to let you guys know that this might be worth looking into. Splinter Forge, for those who may not be familiar with, they are going to be using Splinterland's assets, so like cards, to get to play in a separate game completely, where you'll be able to earn a completely separate token. But it's just trying to give more use cases and more utility to the Splinterlands assets as it currently stands. And right now, I believe it's only cards. And then Nifty Arcade, I think I've talked with them on here and I've talked about them a lot. I think they're awesome. They do such a great job. They created this whole scholarship or like deck lending service where you can essentially get a deck lent to you for free. The demand is sky high, so I haven't even been able to get one yet, but I think it's really cool. I think it's worthwhile to check out, especially if you're in a lower league or a newer player or wanting to play at the higher leagues. You can essentially do it for free by giving a percentage of your earnings. And so that to me is an amazing cost-effective way. I mean, it's actually free way to start earning within the game just by playing. And I think that's pretty cool. So make sure you go check out both of those. Brawl Freight changes. They did a lot on that. There's actually a post on that. So I think I'm going to do a separate video if you guys want to see that. And then season rentals. This is what I was talking about earlier. And I hate to end on a sour note, but somebody asked Matt about season rentals. And then he said, we need to, and I'm going to forget exactly what he said, but my paraphrasing is like, we need to figure out the design of that. Right. And when he said that, I was like, season rentals were brought up, I think at the end of July, maybe early August. So we're 3 months past that now, like 3.5 months, maybe even 4 months past that. And they're just talking about figuring out how to design season rentals, right? Not even implement it, but just how would you design it? So that shows me, and the reason I bring this up is because like I said, I like to keep it real with you guys. So when we talk about all the cool stuff here, Soulbound reward cards, guild alliances, DEC bonds, all I'm saying is I think there's an element of patience and definitely level set your expectations when it comes to these things, because one of the things it's a meme for me now, and I just say it to be annoying. It's just like I'm still waiting for the airdrop potion that they were talking about in January of 2022, January of this year. So there's a lot of cool ideas that they bring to the table, and that they bring up in the town halls. And like I said, these are all cool ideas, and I'm super excited for them to implement it. But they don't always make it to the cutting room floor. And sometimes if they do, it's like literally months or years later. I mean, look at land, for example. So this is not me trying to throw shade. This is me just trying to level set my own expectations and hopefully level set your expectations on all of these things that they're talking about, because there is this whole push of, you know, this promise to deliver on what was promised. And I don't doubt that they will, right? I'm still very confident. I'm not selling my assets within the game. And I'm not telling anybody to, right? I'm just saying that like this stuff can still take time, and understand that 45% of the team is no longer there. So hopefully this is a situation of less is more and lean, mean fighting machine, right? But we're going to go into the holidays, which is like 6-ish weeks, right? It's going to last for about 6-ish weeks from now. And then they'll come in sometime in January and hopefully hit the ground running. But I don't know what's going to happen between now and then. I don't know what we're going to get, but I'm just letting you guys know. Don't be surprised if we don't see this stuff for a while. That being said, I like the conversations that are being had. I like the direction, for the most part, where Matt and Nagy are taking things. And with the whole layoff thing last week, as I talked about, it's a tough situation, but I have a lot of respect for them doing what they felt was necessary to ensure the long-term health of the game. So I don't view that as a bad thing. And I don't even view this kind of period of recovering from that, because there is a recovery period, right? Morale is low, both probably within the team as well as within the community. So there is a period of like recovery that needs to happen with that. And hopefully the holidays will help people kind of get distracted for a little bit, and 2023 will roll around and we'll get land maybe early, or we'll get Rooney playable in game or something. And I'm just waiting for that moment where people can start to see the team really delivering, and get the momentum back in our favor. So that's where I'll leave it for now. I'm going to try. I was able to keep this under half an hour, thankfully, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you guys. I don't know if I say that enough. I probably don't say it enough, but I appreciate you guys. So thank you for sticking around and watching the video. I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. It is Thanksgiving week. So I want to say thank you, and we'll do some more fun stuff for Thanksgiving. So catch y'all later.